have won their last 14 games in this arena. Will the streak continue on the opening night in the Big Ten? You are watching Big Ten basketball on ESPN, and tonight we come your way from the Kohl Center, where the Rutgers Scarlet Knights visit the 14th ranked Wisconsin Badgers. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Picozzi along with former 11-year NBA veteran LaFonso Ellis. We hope you're having a magical holiday season. LaFonso, both of these teams sure are. Each is 11-2. Is there anything more cherished than senior leadership?
Certainly not for Wisconsin. Bronson Koenig and Nigel Hayes. Check this out, folks. They've been to a national championship game, a Final Four, and a Sweet 16. Tremendous experience between these two guys, and a pretty good scoring it too. 29 points between the two of them. For Rutgers to win this game, going to have to shut those two guys down.
And Rutgers hopes that they got a little more leadership from sophomore Corey Sanders. He missed the flight to get back to campus following the Christmas break. Missed practice yesterday. He has started all 13 games this year, and as a result, he will not start this evening. Mike Williams gets the start instead. Rutgers, LaFonso, only in its third year in the Big Ten. They have never won a Big Ten game on the road.
Wow. Great opportunity here under new coach Steve Pikiell. I expect him to play with a lot of confidence, folks, and look for Rutgers to play fast.
These are two of the better rebounding teams in the country.
Both teams doing an outstanding job on both boards. Tremendous on the offensive glass and the defensive board.
DJ Karstensen tosses the ball up. He's working with Bo Borowski and Rob Kuhneman. And we are underway from the Kohl Center. This is Nigel Hayes. He's the Big Ten preseason selection as the Conference Player of the Year. That's a tough matchup for Rutgers.
It really is. His inside-outside versatility is what makes him tough to guard. You got to go inside here early to establish a presence down the post.
And a turnover on the first possession for Wisconsin. That's cardinal sin number one for the Badgers. There's Steve Pikiell, who did such an outstanding job in 11 years at Stony Brook. They won 4 America East regular season titles, and last March for the first time won the conference tournament and went to their first NCAA tournament.
Already changing the culture here at Rutgers.
From the Jim Calhoun coaching tree, played for and coached under the Hall of Fame UConn coach. Freeman with the miss, and the rebound on a hop to Vito Brown.
And Wisconsin's going to give him that 15-foot jump shot. It's going to be important for Freeman to be able to knock those down. Now the defender comes close and he can drive by.
2 possessions for Wisconsin and 2 turnovers. In the last 16 years, they've averaged only 10 turnovers per game. Nigel Johnson misses the 3, and rebound to Brown again.
I think that was a little early in the shot clock. Wisconsin had already gotten back defensively. Got to move them around to try to get some open looks on the weak side of the floor.
Low block to Happ. He shoots 69% from the floor. Spun away last touch by Geddes with 14 to shoot. Koenig will inbound baseline. On the ball screen, the handoff back to Koenig. Shot clock at 10. Koenig with a jumper. Rebound inside, pulled down by Freeman, his second.
Got to look and try to get something in the early offense here for Rutgers, because that half-court defense of Wisconsin is stout.
Both of these teams will play almost exclusively man-to-man. Freeman puts it on the floor, and good hands by Showalter. Has Happ with him, and Happ takes the pass off the bounds.
What a pass by Showalter.
Don't take this personally, LaFonso, but some point guards are a little reticent to give big fellas the ball in transition on the run.
Hey, now, got to know your personnel. It's got a pretty good set of hands. Big ones at that.
This is Koenig up the right side to Hayes. Dribbles through the legs once, twice, and goes back door.
We're talking about his versatility, making him tough. You see that little change of direction, change of pace, and then using the rim to protect the basketball at the rim. Beautiful finish by Nigel.
He's played a lot of 4 here. He's played a lot of 5. Last year he played a lot of 3. This year he is almost exclusively at the 4. Shot clock at 10 for Rutgers. And Showalter picks the pocket of Geddes. Steve Pikiell needs an early timeout.
And folks, Wisconsin won't blow you away with quickness and speed, but the one thing they are is an excellent execution team. How about Ethan Happ throwing it down?
With the Pinstripe Bowl, Pitt and Northwestern. Then at 5:30, West Virginia, Miami in the Russell Athletic Bowl. And the day concludes with the Advocare Fee 100 Texas Bowl. Texas A&M faces off with Kansas State. A&M, after a 7-1 start, has lost 3 of its last 4, trying to end the season on a positive note.
Will they wear pinstripe uniforms?
No, that's not part of the deal.
Missed opportunity there.
Only one team gets to wear those uniforms in that building. Hayes with the steal, so Rutgers out of the timeout, turns it over again, and a circus shot by Hayes.
His ability to change speeds, change direction with the dribble at 6'7" is remarkable.
6 Rutgers possessions, 0 for 3 from the floor, and 3 turnovers.
Folks, watch as Nigel Hayes is bringing the basketball up the floor here. He actually slows down and allows the defense to catch up with him, where he's 1-on-3. He knows where everyone is. Little change of direction, a little skip through, and a little left-handed kiss off the glass. That was beautiful.
His second basket of the night. This is Issa Cham in off the bench and fires to give Rutgers its first point.
And if Issa Cham can continue to knock down shots, he's the Senegalese sharpshooter at 6'9". They need him to be able to knock down some perimeter jump shots to open it up on the interior for the front line of Rutgers.
He started the first 11 games, did not start last Friday against Seton Hall or tonight. Low block, it's Happ, works his way in on Corson. And then the shot is blocked. 5 seconds to shoot. Koenig puts it on the deck and takes the jumper over Jake Datica. Well, what a message for Steve Peichel when he has Datica a walk-on in the game in the Big Ten opener 4 minutes in. How about that?
Yeah, sometimes you have to send a message, and that's a big one because we players take a little pride in our playing time.
Remember, Corey Sanders did not start and is not the first guard off the bench. Showalter's going to be called for the charge.
And look who it is taking the charge, but the walk-on in Datica. Wisconsin up 6.
Fonzo, it has come almost entirely on the defense.
Wisconsin gets a lot of credit for the efficient offense, but most people don't know how efficient their defense is. Their hands have been active here early. They've been able to get out and finish. Look at the swipes at the basketball, 2 there. Showalter, the beneficiary of a little layup in transition. I love the activity here early by Wisconsin. Anytime the basketball's in the painted area, they corral. And look at Nigel Johnson, Nigel Hayes with another sweet finish in transition.
And nothing new for Wisconsin at the defensive end. They have played 13 games this year, held 9 of those opponents to a season low in scoring. Last time out last Friday against a Florida A&M team, they held them to 37 points.
Look at that, 59 points per game allowed, leads the Big Ten. They're one of the few teams in the country that are in the top 20 in both offensive and defensive efficiencies.
Steve Peichel has now played 10 men, less than 5 minutes into the Big Ten opener. No Corey Sanders.
I think you also, again, with an older guy, you have to send the message that, especially when you're trying to establish a new team and a new culture, I think message sent.
Again, Sanders missed a flight. Did not get back for the first team practice. A couple of substitutions will enter for Rutgers at the next whistle. Happ down low draws the double team, then gives to Hayes for the jumper. Happ, in addition to everything else, a very good passer out of the post.
Yeah, when Nigel Hayes has made a few inside or gotten to the foul line, gives him a great deal of confidence on the perimeter, be able to knock those shots down. He's on a roll here early in the first half.
Low block to Sa, and a dangerous cross-court pass is stolen by Happ.
The turnovers have crushed the offensive ability of Rutgers here in this first half.
They have 5 turnovers and 2 points nearly 6 minutes in. Showalter for 3.
Showalter only 34% from 3 on the year, but he's 6'4", now 7 of his last 12 from 3 for a little bit over 54%.
Sham with the quick trigger on the 3. Next whistle, Steve Peichel will make 4 substitutions.
Rutgers has got to play with a little bit more pace.
Half foul line jumper and nothing but red shirts in the lane for the rebound comes to John.
Folks, that's not a shot that Ethan Happ typically takes. He does his work down in the painted area. That's an area of his game that he's working so hard on. 15-foot jump shot and his free throws as well.
Sham on the perimeter. Still 15 to shoot. This is Datica, the second-year walk-on, who I'm sure when he woke up this morning didn't think he'd be in. 4 minutes into the Big Ten opener. Shot clock down to 3. This is Datica for 3. Rebound inside. Laurent misses the putback. Goes up again and will get a held ball. And on the arrow, it will say this end. And 4 new players enter the game for Rutgers.
Yeah, 4 starters coming back in for Rutgers here. This team, to try to get back in this game, they have to play with a bit more pace. When they're able to shut Wisconsin down on the defensive end, they got to push the basketball up the floor. Nigel Johnson, number 0 in red, those guys can get out, as can Mike Williams, number 5 here. He's got to get himself going.
Williams off the inbound, misses the shot, but drew the foul. He leads the team in three-point makes. And Steve Peichel, LaFonso, was telling us at shoot-around today that of all of the players on the team, he thinks that Williams has bought in to the new coaching staff and what they're trying to do more than anyone else.
We play so hard. He's scrappy, a good rebounder as a 2-guard, averaging about 4 rebounds per game. Can be a streaky shooter, but he shot 43% from 3 over the last 3, and they're going to need that kind of output from him tonight in order to try to get a win on the road.
Rutgers, in its first 2 years in the Big Ten, 3-33 in league play. They were picked to finish last again this year, and Peichel said Williams loves the fact that they were picked last and embraces the challenge. They want to prove people wrong. And really, LaFonso, this is their first big test under the bright lights.
It really is, and you can tell early on, seem to be spooked by playing against one of the best teams in the country. Some of those turnovers that they had were not pressure turnovers, but just essentially handing the basketball over to Wisconsin, and Wisconsin was able to capitalize in transition.
Number 0, Demetric Trice, in for Wisconsin, and away from the play will have a hold on the Scarlet Knights. This will be the first foul of the night on Rutgers.
It's going to be on number 33, Deshaun Freeman. A little bit too physical with Nigel Hayes coming over the top.
Greg Gard told us at shoot-around today he loves Trice, and his effectiveness so early in his freshman year has enabled Koenig to switch from the point to the 2.
Well, it helps when you shoot 60% from 3, as Demetric Trice is.
Yeah, he leads the Big Ten in that category. Low block. This is Charles Thomas, backs his way in, and he's called for the charge. That's 1 on him and 3 on the team. There's Greg Gard. Took over December 15th, a year ago, when legendary Bo Ryan abruptly retired. And in his first season, all he did was take the Badgers to the Sweet 16. Wisconsin is the only team in the country who has gone to the Sweet 16 5 times in the last 6 years.
After a 1-4 start in the Big Ten after he took over last year, everybody's a little bit nervous, but they went on an incredible run all the way to the Sweet 16.
Finished 12-6 in the league, and the block shot by Iverson couldn't control, so Rutgers ball with 14 to shoot.
What a quick reaction by Khalil Iverson, knowing that he got clipped a little bit on that little screen, but the quickness, the range, the leaping ability to be able to get back in and make a play for his team. Nicely done.
12th block shot of the year for Iverson. He leads the team. Rutgers now 1-for-9 from the floor. Williams, shot clock under 10. Johnson with the pull-up with a hand in his face. Went halfway down and came out. Was nearly tipped up and in. And the rebound was pulled down by Williams. Great work off the offensive glass for the Scarlet Knights.
Yeah, everything's a tough shot right now for Rutgers. Got a mismatch inside if they can find it.
Yeah, big time. Trice is trying to body up Jallo, and Rutgers threw it away. In the Big Ten opener, the Scarlet Knights have scored just 4 points and have a lot of work to do. On On opening night at the Big Ten, very impressive start for 14th ranked Wisconsin and the Big Ten preseason player of the year, Nigel Hayes.
Well, the difference in this game lately is he's not taking as many threes. He's been active on the defensive end. Look at the quick hands, handling it out transition, little hesitation, allowed D to catch up. And the ability to finish at the rim. How about this one? Two between the legs, a little hezzy to freeze the defense and able to get to the rim. And when he's scoring on the interior that way, it gives him tremendous confidence to be able to knock down his open J. And what a nice little skate dribble there to get an open look. Nigel Hayes off to a tremendous start.
There are his numbers. Greg Gard told us this morning Hayes is getting a more consistent appreciation of how effective he can be from 15 feet on in.
Well, I talked to him at shoot-around this morning. He told me the biggest difference is early on when he would have a wide open three-point shot, as Vito Brown takes a three-pointer there, that he would just take it. And that led to several three-point opportunities, taking away his aggressiveness. But lately, he's wanted to get into the painted area. And you can see as he continues to attack the basket, it gives him great confidence to knock down his perimeter jump shot. And he's done exactly that here in the first half.
Freeman with the miss for the Scarlet Knights. It has been a struggle for Rutgers at the offensive end. Half spun and lost the ball. Fifth turnover for the Badgers. That's an unusual number. Williams with the putback and then fights and gets another offensive rebound.
Yeah, it's been turnovers and missed opportunities on the interior that have hurt Rutgers until there.
Freeman with the basket and the foul on Happ.
And Bob, as poorly as Rutgers has played, turning it over, not able to knock down any shots, they're only down 7 here on the road. There's plenty of time. I think their low post defense has been stout here in the first half.
So to the line will go Freeman, who missed the last 25 games last year with a knee injury. Rutgers with a remarkable turnaround in the rebound department, and Steve Peichel coach teams have always been very good off the boards. That comes from his old coach at UConn, Jim Calhoun.
Indeed. Deshaun Freeman has led the charge there as well. Nearly a double-double guy, averaging just under 10 rebounds a game.
Kick out to Hayes, fakes left and gets a step on his man. Couldn't finish, nearly tipped in by Iverson. Wisconsin with no baskets in the last 3:30.
Yeah, Wisconsin has turned that basketball over at times, which is totally out of character for them as well. But again, when they've tried to throw the basketball down the inside with Ethan Happ, Rutgers bigs have done a really nice job of keeping him out of the painted area.
Omoruyi with that last foul, and then this foul will be on Jallo, sending Happ to the line. First on Jallo and 3 on the Scarlet Knights.
Jallo in good position there, has to make sure he keeps his hands up so he doesn't draw that roofing foul.
So at the line will go Happ, who does nearly everything well, but not shoot free throws. Just a 50% shooter so far in his sophomore year. Tonight at 10:15 Eastern Time on ESPN, catch the end of a great day of bowl action. Boise State squares off with Baylor in the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl. Boise State led by Jeremy Nichols, who leads the country in scoring with 162 points.
Wow.
He has scored 23 touchdowns on the ground.
That's a ton. It's like Earl Campbell kind of numbers.
Strange season for Baylor. They won their first 6 and lost their last 6. The pull-up by Nigel Johnson. Didn't even get to the rim. Hayes with the rebound. Down low, Happ mismatched size-wise. Happ faked 3 Scarlet Knights into the air. Showalter with the miss, and then the rebound last touched by Williams of Rutgers. And here finally comes Corey Sanders into the game for Rutgers. He sat down for the first 10 minutes and 4 seconds after missing practice yesterday. Steve Peichel told us today, he said everybody else made it back for practice. Inside, the shot is swatted away by Sanders.
Yeah, Sanders is vital to especially on the offensive end for the Scarlet Knights. Last year led the Big Ten, freshman in scoring, assists, and steals. You're going to need that kind of effort from him tonight.
Really had a tough battle from the perimeter this year. 3 for 20 from three-point range. Look at the footwork by Hayes. He likes that 4 spot, doesn't he?
That's so pretty. He's got such great balance and footwork that if he gets you on the high side on one side, he has the ability to be able to drop step to the other. It's beautifully executed by Nigel Hayes.
Wisconsin had gone 4.5 minutes without a basket before that Hayes shot. Sanders, wild shot over the much taller Hayes. Now at the other end, on a mismatch size-wise, Sanders is guarding Hayes. Now they switch back. Hayes defended by Freeman. Shoots over him. Rebound. Traffic by Iverson. To Hap down low. Switched hands in midair.
And folks, to be good in the post, you have to have great balance and excellent footwork. Watch how he gets Freeman here up on the high side, gives him a little fake and a little reverse spin there to the baseline away from the defense. His awareness, Nigel Hayes, of what's going on the floor, where your body position is as a defender, and his ability to be able to change direction off the pivot is really impressive.
But he's a senior. Next year when he plays in, as you like to call it, the league, what position is best suited for a guy that spent a lot of time in his college career at the 3, 4, and 5?
Yeah, I see him as a Draymond Green type. His ability to be able to rebound the basketball and then spurt the offense on the handle. We just saw it 2 possessions ago. Pulls down a big rebound, and it's Nigel Hayes bringing it up the floor like a point forward. Recognizes that Ethan Happ had a mismatch inside with a smaller guard, makes the delivery underneath. And so I know people have been in his ear saying you got to learn how to shoot the 3 and all of that. His versatility, ball handling ability, passing, defense, and awareness is what's going to get him in the league.
7th turnover for Rutgers. Hayes lost his footing, went to the floor, but maintained the possession. Happ with the putback. And Steve Peichel needs another timeout.
Bob, did you see how high Khalil Iverson went in the air to try to dunk that one? That was impressive.
Full timeout.
Watch how high he gets, my goodness. At 6'4.5", 6'5", that's impressive.
This is opening night in the Big Ten. Already a couple of games in the books. Michigan State and Minnesota to follow us tonight, later here on ESPN2. Some Big Ten storylines to begin the season. There are the Big Three. They are ranked Wisconsin 14, Purdue 15, Indiana 16. Michigan State struggled early. Tom Izzo said it was his fault. He overscheduled. And what a great year for the best player on the Iowa Hawkeyes. And the surprise start for 2 teams. Rutgers, that 11-1 start, which is what they were before the loss at Seton Hall the other night. Their best start in 41 years.
Yeah, and you talk about a Minnesota that's gotten off to a tremendous start. Their junior guard, Nate Mason, is having a terrific year with 13 points per game, shooting about 44% from 3. And 2nd in the league in minutes played. Minnesota off to a tremendous start.
Yep, and they'll host the Spartans tonight right after us on ESPN2. That'll be a goaltending call on Iverson, who continues to show his ability to get up in the air.
Indeed. I like what Rutgers is trying to do. They're trying to find an interior post option that they can get some touches and get some scores down in the box to loosen it up on the perimeter, because right now Wisconsin has absolutely clamped them down on the perimeter.
Koenig defended by Sanders, goes around the Brown screen. The double. Back to Brown, who puts it on the deck and dragged the pivot foot for the travel.
You know, I love the improvements and adjustments that Rutgers has made on their defense. They've really done a nice job of swarming. Whenever there's been dribble penetration, Wisconsin up by 11.
There's the state capitol, about 7 blocks away from the Kohl Center. And LaFonso Hayes isn't the only one that can create long nights for defenders in the Big Ten in the post.
Yeah, these 3 guys, when it comes in terms of scouting reports, keep you up at night. All 3 with the ability to shoot it from long range. Thomas Bryant, not quite the ball handler Nigel Hayes and Caleb Flanagan are, but you talk about guys that can post you up, play with their back to the basket. They can make a mid-range J. They can knock down in 3, and they can pull it off the glass off a defensive rebound and push the basketball up the floor. Their versatility makes them very difficult to scout for.
And Wisconsin will see Purdue next week on January 8th. A week from tonight, they'll visit Indiana and then follow up that with a date at Purdue. Geddes with the foul at the offensive end. That's 2 on him and 5 on Rutgers.
How about Caleb Swanigan? Back-to-back 20-plus point, 20-rebound games already in the early part of this season.
There are no Big Ten teams ranked among the top 13 in the country, but the next 3 are all from this conference in order: Wisconsin, Purdue, and Indiana.
Pretty good teams, all different styles of play, but really good.
Trice back in at the point, so Koenig slides to the 2. Shot clock inside 10. Entry pass knocked away by Sa. Shot clock at 2. Iverson tries to beat the clock. Sanders on the run out to Williams. Kick out. The 3 by Chom, no good. And on the rebound, Geddes might be called for his 3rd.
He was. I love the early push from Rutgers. I thought Mike Williams should have gone straight to the basket when he caught that basketball to go lay it in, but he fumbled with it a little bit and tried to kick it out for the 3. Rutgers has missed some opportunities here early to score, both on offensive rebound putbacks and opportunities around the rim. You got to be able to capitalize those, especially when you're on the road against a team like Wisconsin.
The shooting woes continue for the Scarlet Knights. Geddes sits down with that 3rd foul. We won't see him till the second half. Brown on the pick and roll. Tough catch down low by Happ. He draws the double and kicks out to Brown. And on the rebound, it will stay right here. The rebound foul will be called on Jallo. That's his 2nd, and that will put Rutgers over the limit.
Ethan Happ did a really nice job of getting inside position there, positioning himself to be able to come up with that offensive rebound, but Jallo tied him up. It's a good call by the baseline official.
So to the line will go Happ, who's had a great start to his career. Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year. Preseason watch list for the Wooden Award, also the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award, which goes to the top center in the country, but he really is struggling from the free throw line. Sanders with the wild drive to the hoop. The good news is he drew the foul and will get to the line to shoot a couple.
Bob, that's what I was talking about earlier. Rutgers has to take advantage of the speed that they have in their backcourt. Look for early opportunities off the push, and if not, get into their secondary offense, because if you allow Wisconsin to get back and set their defense, it's going to be a long night. One of the most efficient defenses in the nation.
To the line is Sanders. We mentioned that he didn't start tonight, didn't play for the first 10 minutes because he missed practice yesterday because he missed the flight. Steve Peichel played for Jim Calhoun's. His first year of coaching as a graduate assistant was under him. Spent 4 years as an assistant coach under Howie Dickerman in Central Connecticut. And I asked Steve today, when you're mad at a player, who are you more like, Calhoun or Dickerman? And he laughed and he said, neither. He says, when I get mad, I just take out of the game. I seldom say anything during the game.
Let's the bench speak to him.
A very politically correct answer for the 49-year-old Mr. Pike.
I think you got to go inside the haze here. He's got a little one down if they can find him.
Happ draws the double. Good ball rotation. Brown's pass deflected. Shot clock at 1. Good defensive set for the Scarlet Knights. Sanders sets up Williams, who's been their best three-point shooter this year.
And that's what we were talking about, Bob. The early push. I said earlier, as poorly as Rutgers has played, they're only down 6. And part of that is because their defense has been tremendous in the half court.
Ball knocked away from behind with 22 to shoot. It's a 7-0 run for Rutgers. Iverson will replace Brown.
I tell you what, with what I'm seeing right now from Rutgers, I did their game about 3 years ago. There has been a complete mental change in how they approach defense. They are getting after it on the interior. That's almost 4 shot clock violations now that they've created for Wisconsin.
Well, Greg Gard told us today when we asked him about Rutgers, he says it is so obvious the change in culture under Peichel, particularly at the defensive end. Koenig buries the 3.
Yeah, you can't leave the strong side corner. Creates too long of a run for the guard digging out. Sanders got to stay at home next time.
Wisconsin by 9. They've won 12 of their last 13 Big Ten openers. They won 14 straight games in this building. Rutgers has never won a road game in the Big Ten. This is the 3rd year in the league for the Scarlet Knights, and Williams with back-to-back threes Iverson takes it to the hoop and draws the foul on Candido Sa.
Well, Bob, we talked about earlier how Mike Williams had to get going in this game. He's a streaky shooter, but a guy that when he can see it go through the basket, now all of a sudden you have somebody to deal with. I think the next few times down the floor here, Rutgers has to continue to look for him out on the floor, move him off the basketball, getting moving, and allow the defense to trail him. It'll lead to some wide open shots for him, as we've seen already.
So Rutgers has had no success in the Big Ten since joining. And we asked Steve Pikiell today, what's your vision of the program? He said, I want people to be proud of our program. We think we can be competitive in the Big Ten. It will take time. And then he laughed. He said, but with the coaches they have in this league, we're not going to outcoach anybody.
I'm in agreement with that.
He'll go against this Saturday. He'll go against Patrick Chambers at Penn State, who lost their Big Ten opener today at home to Northwestern by 10. First time Izzo was just inducted to the Hall of Fame in August. Off the Rutgers turnover number 9. Down on the low block, Alex Illikainen has checked in for Wisconsin. Back to Illikainen. Freeman took it away and is fouled by Illikainen.
That is tremendous defense by Rutgers, coming over from the weak side of the floor, taking away dribble penetration, and now not everyone's standing. You got to get back out to a shooter. Freeman did a great job of stealing that reversal pass. I've been really impressed with Rutgers' half-court defense here early in this game.
Well, the combination they have now in the backcourt, Williams and Sanders, that might be their best offensive scoring threat in the backcourt. The shot was blocked. Last touch by Rutgers. This is an illustration of how Rutgers has improved dramatically at the defensive end of the floor so far. Now, take it with a grain of salt.
Sure.
Those are the rankings within the conference, but keep in mind that it's all been prior to tonight against non-conference opponents.
Yeah, Bob, if we look back even the last few years against non-conference opponents, you wouldn't see those kind of defensive numbers. They've really stepped it up on the defensive end when Pikiell came in. Defense and rebounding were two important keys for them, and they've done that here early in the season.
Foul on Jonathan Laurent, his first and 9 on the team. Wisconsin at the line when we come back. All right, Chris, thank you. And there you see Northwestern and Maryland 1, as Chris said. Coming up following us, Michigan State and Minnesota. Then tomorrow night in the Big Ten, Nebraska, Indiana, Iowa, Purdue. And on Friday, Northwestern at Michigan State. Is the Wisconsin team we're seeing tonight, LaFonso, in your opinion, the most talented team in the league?
Most talented team in the league. So as we compare them to Purdue, I think they're more talented than Purdue. Indiana, not more talented than Indiana. There's a lot of guys out there on the floor for Indiana that can isolate you, that can get to the rim against you, and certainly can knock down the three. So from a skilled talent standpoint, I think Indiana is number 1 in that category.
And a couple of really good matchups next week. January 3rd, Wisconsin at Indiana. January 8th, Wisconsin at Purdue. So Greg Gard ought to know a lot more about his team after those two games.
Indeed. Tell you what, we were talking about Maryland earlier. I think Melo Trimble's ability to play off of the ball this year due to the freshman Anthony Cowan has really helped him take a lot of the pressure off of him offensively, and I think it's shown here tonight. Hit 20 points in the earlier game.
Freeman down low will be called for the charge. That's 2 on him and 10 on the team.
Yeah, Freeman's usually pretty reliable on the interior. A little frustrated that it hasn't gone his way. Kind of lowered that shoulder a little bit. Nice little Hollywood sell there on the inside, though, by Zach Showalter.
2 on Freeman. LaFonso, do you think it's difficult for these Rutgers players to get a rhythm with the frequent substitutions?
Especially for the offensive guys. There's no question about it. But playing the kind of pressure defense that Steve Pikiell wants to play, you have to go 9-10 deep. The solution is making sure that you have at least 2 big-time threats offensively on the floor when you're making those hockey substitutions.
Oh, how did that not stay down by Sanders, but the putback by Laurent. Rutgers nearly got its first basket in transition there.
Well, Rutgers is starting to play with a little bit more pace, and if they can continue to do that, advantage Rutgers. We've been saying all game long that they have to get something out of their early offense. Good cut.
Illikainen will earn another trip to the foul line. Tonight after the Cactus Bowl on ESPN, stick around for SportsCenter at night with Neil Everett. He'll have all the highlights from all of the bowl games as well as the NBA, NHL, college hoops, NFL news, and everything else from the day. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. That will come up right after Boise State and Baylor. That foul on Sa was his second. And Trice re-enters for Wisconsin, replacing Koenig.
Alex Illikainen last year was deep out the bench, not in the rotation, but when Greg Gard took over, much like Hill, got a lot more minutes as the rotation expanded. Had some good games, but this year hasn't been able to get as many minutes because, of course, Greg Gard started to tighten up the rotation a little bit.
Greg told us this morning in shoot-around that he said, I like the fact that our players have adjusted to their roles. 1 through 7 were pretty well set. Sa is going to be called for his 3rd foul on the charge. So he has 3, and Geddes has, or make that Laurent called for the foul. That's 2 on him.
Yeah, you have to know against Wisconsin, especially when you're driving from so far out on the floor, that they're always bringing over a secondary defender looking to take a charge. So now you got to come to a jump stop and take a little J over the top or look to pass it or do a little sidestep. Ran him over there. That was a good call by the official. See Nigel Hayes get a little touch here. He's got a mismatch inside.
Yeah, Williams on him, and they went right to him. Good recognition. And Williams will pick up the foul. That's 12 team fouls already on Rutgers. 1 on Williams.
Bob, you like classical music?
I do.
I found out today that Nigel Hayes loves working out to classical music. His favorite is Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven.
And it wasn't yours when you were in the NBA all those years?
Nah, I couldn't quite. That wasn't quite my style back then. I like multiple genres, but you know, how about that? Can you imagine walking into the weight room and then your senior leader has got classical music blaring? That's your way to get hype in the lift? I can't imagine that one.
Well, he's a very diverse young man. Not only with the number of positions he plays, but with his musical tastes.
Had to show him my Pandora list with my romance classical music. He got a kick out of that one.
Or at least so he said. Very polite. Shot clock down to 7. Williams lost his balance, goes baseline, and can't hit it coming back around the other way. Good work by Sa to maintain the possession.
I like the fight that we've seen from Rutgers, both on the defensive end and on the offensive glass.
Williams on the ball screen. Left it, nobody at home. I think he thought Sa was going to cut for the basket.
That point forward, bring the ball up the floor again.
Trice, ball fake. Wide open jumper.
He's such a threat from the three-point line. It's 60% from 3. You have to get out and challenge and bid on that little shot fake. Beautiful escape dribble in the pull-up. Trice,
the younger brother of former Michigan State great Travis, coached by his dad in high school. Sa misses the 3. Steve Peichel goes right to the bench. You think he thought Sa was a little quick on the trigger with that 3?
I think so.
Showalter. Final minute of the half. Wisconsin is led right from the opening gun. Shot clock down to 8. Kick out Showalter for 3.
Showalter continues to be money from 3.
Biggest lead of the night for Wisconsin right now at 15 after Rutgers had pulled within 6. A 7-0 Badgers run. The runner by Johnson is no good, but he is fouled.
Folks, we talked a lot about the versatility of Nigel Hayes. You know, he's the one that dribbles into the lane, gets the hockey assist, and what a beautiful shot fake and escape. The vision that Nigel Hayes has, I think he's an underrated passer, folks. He gets so much credit for his versatility in terms of his scoring and rebounding, but I don't think people know how good of a passer he is. He had 10 assists versus Syracuse. They put him at the top of that zone at the free throw line area. His ability to take you off the bounce and finish himself, or his vision to be able to find guys open. Everything has been on display here in the first half for number 10 in white.
In the Syracuse game, he had a very unusual double-double, 11 rebounds and 10 assists.
Do I remember, was he 1 point away from the triple-double? What did he have, 8 points, 9 points?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rutgers Nigel Johnson has struggled. He's a transfer from Kansas State, leads a very balanced team in scoring. And Steve Peichel told us today he's a natural scorer. He's our most athletic player, but he's been forced to learn how to play the point, and it's been a struggle tonight.
Yeah, for him and Corey Sanders, number 3 in red, those guys have to really get it going on the offensive end to provide a scoring punch for Rutgers that they've desperately missed here in the first half. The only guy that's been able to score from the perimeter has been Mike Williams, number 5 in red.
Shot clock off. What's Wisconsin looking to do here on the final possession of the half?
I think you got to get it in Nigel Hayes' hands. He's made some great decisions with the rock.
5 seconds to go in the half. Brown shoots over Dorson. Rebound by Iverson, but he does not get the shot off in time. Wisconsin with an 8-0 run to start the game and an 11-2 run to end the half. It's the fewest points that Rutgers has scored in the first half of the season. The Scarlet Knights' struggles in the Big Ten continue. 33-18 Wisconsin. Let's go to Chris Cotter, Jay Williams, and Seth Greenberg in the studio. Fellas? It's been nearly a full calendar year since Wisconsin has lost the game in this building. On opening night of the Big Ten, the Badgers lead Rutgers 33-18. Welcome back to the Kohl Center. Bob Picozzi along with LaFonso Ellis, the second leading shot blocker in Notre Dame history. It's too bad the Big Ten preseason player of the year didn't show up tonight. Huh?
Oh, yeah, it's just too bad. But Nigel Hayes has been absolutely outstanding in this game. We talked about when he doesn't rely on that three-point jump shot, how efficient he is when he's got the basketball close to the rim. We also talked about his love for classical music. How about a little Beethoven here on the little drop step to the rim? And now he's shaking him, a little hesitation like Bach. And on this next possession, a little strip showing a little quick hands like Mozart. And the vision, the awareness of a Strauss. Nigel Hayes, extraordinary in the first half in all phases of the game.
He worked in everybody but Meatloaf, my friend.
I don't think Meatloaf fits in classical.
Well, you never know. Maybe that's on his workout routine on the road.
Is that under the dashboard lights?
Yeah, so what does Rutgers and Steve Peichel do? They did not take a punch very well in the first half in their first Big Ten game of the season.
Yeah, got to take better care of the basketball. They turned it over 12 times, leading to 12 points for Wisconsin. Wisconsin's one of those teams you can't just give them points. They're too efficient on the offensive end. Got to be better with the rock.
Tito Brown penetrates and dumps down to Happ for the reverse layup.
The early push and looking for opportunities off of it going to be vital for Rutgers. Was in the first half, needs to be here in the second half as well.
Sanders disciplined for missing a practice, didn't start, didn't play for the first 10 minutes, is on the floor to begin the second half for Rutgers. The three by Omoruyi is no good, and the rebound is pulled down by Happ. Rutgers 0-18 on the road in its Big Ten history. This is year 3 in the conference for the Scarlet Knights. Happ down low. Geddes has 3 fouls, and he took it right to the rim.
Yeah, I love the early recognition. You have to know when someone's in foul trouble to find the guy on the offensive end. That guy in the second half here early has been Ethan Happ. I love the patience he has when he catches it down in the box.
Biggest lead of the night, and then Nigel Johnson answers for Rutgers, and Steve Peichel wants some full court pressure.
for Rutgers to get back in the game. Corey Sanders, number 3 in red. Nigel Johnson, number 0. Mike Williams, number 5 in red. Their perimeter guys have to take this game over. Early pushes and in the half court looking to come off screens and try to get into the lane.
Down low, tough catch for Brown. Shot clock inside 10. Even tougher catch down by his ankles by Hayes. Shot clock at 4. Hayes with the fadeaway from the foul line. That was a good defensive possession for the guys in red. Johnson with a wild shot. That wasn't a very good offensive possession so far for Rutgers.
They should have attacked to the middle, went away to the baseline area.
Sanders with the wild shot and Geddes with the putback.
Watching film with Geddes, I love his activity in the painted area, especially on the offensive glass. He's not been able to get much in the post area, but I love his activity, not giving up on the play.
Played 3 years at UNC Wilmington, playing his final year of eligibility as a grad student. And Koenig knocks down his second 3 of the night. He's 5th in the Big Ten in threes.
Beautiful ball movement by the Badgers.
Sanders drives and lays it in.
And that's what we were talking about, getting those guards moving without the basketball. Now they get the defensive guard trailing. It'll open up lanes to get to the basket. Sanders doing a great job there.
Rutgers was 11-1 before losing at Seton Hall last Friday, and Vito Brown with his first 3.
And that's the one guy on this team that you cannot lose sight of. Vito Brown, an excellent three-point shooter at 35%.
Rutgers, conversely, is 326th in the country in three-point shooting percentage. Freeman with the miss, 1 and done. Rebound Hayes. Steve Pikel will insert 4 substitutes at the next whistle. Brown threw it behind Showalter. The 8th turnover for the Badgers.
And folks, this is why Wisconsin is one of the most efficient offenses in the nation. Look at how many hands touch the basketball, reversing the floor twice to find a wide open Bronson Koenig, who knocks down an open 3. Unselfish play for the Badgers.
The lone sore spot tonight for Wisconsin, the 8 turnovers. Greg Gard stressed over and over at shoot around today, we need to value every possession. That's been a staple of Wisconsin over the years, under Bo Ryan and now under Gard, his longtime lieutenant. The pull up by Mike Williams, foot was on the line. It's a long 2.
And again, those shots are coming off the movement for Rutgers to allow their guards to get some easier looks at the basket. They have to continue it, but they got to get some stops here.
Entry past the half, good weak side help by Shaw. He touched it last. 19 to shoot under its own basket for the Badgers when we come back. A 25-game winning streak will be on the line for Alabama in that semifinal. Alabama not the only undefeated team in the country. The Wisconsin Badgers will take on an undefeated Western Michigan team in the Cotton Bowl. And that will be on January 2nd. Wisconsin ranked number 8 in the college football playoff rankings. Wow. Showalter penetrates, kick out Trice, checked the line, he was behind it. No one put a body on Happ inside. Reset, Showalter 3. And ladies and gentlemen, there's your Big Ten preseason player of the year.
And
what
folks,
has he not done tonight, Franz?
Yeah, we've talked about his versatility, but how about the awareness? Perfect read of where the basketball was coming off the rim. And did you see where he jumped from? That's ridiculous. He jumped out from outside of the restricted arc. Incredible display of athleticism by Nigel Johnson. Nigel Hayes, forgive me.
Wonder what he was listening to on that launch.
I don't know. Maybe a little Paco Bell.
They're running a lot of the offense through Happ here in the second half, Fonz.
Yeah, trying to get him going. He and Nigel Hayes both are really good passers, so you have two big guys on the floor that can pass the way they do, I'd run it through them as well.
Happ put it on the deck, but couldn't finish with the left. Here's Sanders. Around the Jallo screen. Sanders for three, back rimmed it. And the rebound comes to the 6-foot Trice.
Yeah, with Rutgers, with the lack of interior post presence, it puts a lot of pressure on their perimeter players to be able to knock down shots. For this team going forward, they're going to have to establish an interior post presence to take a little pressure off the guards.
Hayes put it on the deck, and as he did, he was held. And it will be side out for the Badgers. Foul number 3 on Candido Sa and 1 on Rutgers this half. Rutgers, this is the 6th time they've met Wisconsin. The only time they beat him was 2 years ago. It was January 11th, 2013. And that was the last time that Rutgers beat a top 25 ranked team. You have to go all the way back to 2010, the last time Rutgers beat a top 25 opponent on the road. The road has not been a friendly place for the Scarlet Knights since they joined the Big Ten.
I'd say for Big Ten teams in general, the road is not a friendly place. So if you can win most or all of your home games and try to go 50, try to get half of the wins, your road wins, puts you in a pretty good position.
Iverson had the first one blocked and was fouled on the second one.
Folks, how about the quick reaction Khalil Iverson has off the floor? What a reaction by Issa Cham, number 35 in red, to block the initial one. But wow, his ability to be able to gather and go back up is really impressive.
Iverson only a 59% free throw shooter. Greg Gard made it clear today that he is very pleased with Iverson's development. And Greg told us today that the development of his bench during the non-conference season has enabled him to try reducing his starters' minutes by quite a bit. And he thinks that's going to help big time through the conference schedule. He said fatigue not only is from game to game, but there's a cumulative fatigue that he sensed last year.
Hayes, Koenig, and Happ, those guys were in the mid-30s and sometimes having to play the entire game. But to your point earlier, as Mike Williams knocked down another big three, is the versatility that he now has, Coach Gard, on his bench to be able to play more guys, and that depth allows those three guys to maybe have their minutes to be in the low 30s, maybe even the high 20s.
Yeah, Koenig and Hayes 28 minutes per game so far. Happ only 23.
That's unheard of by those three.
And that, we figure, will go up now that we're in league play. Koenig with the shot clock at 8. And nobody faced the basket for the rebound for Rutgers. It came to Dorson almost accidentally on a bounce. And the foul will be on Charles Thomas. That will be his second.
With this lineup on the floor, Nigel Johnson has had a difficulty scoring the basketball. Mike Williams has been the guy. Let's see if they can get Issa Cham, number 35. He's a 6'9" three-point shooter. Let's see if they can get him going on the perimeter.
Williams around the screen, fires, was a little bit off balance, and the rebound is pulled down by Thomas.
Thought the shot fake and escape was available to him there. It was a quick shot.
Wisconsin won 10 non-conference games for the 6th time in 8 years, and we'll get a foul on the screen, and it'll be another one on Thomas tonight at 10:15 Eastern time on ESPN. Catch the end of a great day of bowl games. Boise State will square off with Baylor. It's the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl. Boise State 10-2, and Baylor with a very mercurial season. Won its first 6 and lost its last 6.
You have to wonder if all that's going on with the NCAA has really gotten into the heads of their players, because to your point, Bob, they have been a completely different team mentally over the last 6 games.
And there's your guy, Nigel Johnson. Let's see if that gets him going.
He's got to be a lot more aggressive. Try to hunt his shot when they have the basketball in the half court.
He has not been a good three-point shooter this year, just 25.5% entering tonight, but you can say that about the whole team. Happ with the tremendous footwork, but again, he couldn't finish. And then Happ was underneath the basket, And Saw fell on top of him. Fortunately, he looks okay. Last touch by Rutgers. When you shoot as poorly as Rutgers has from the three-point line, just 30%, 326th in the country, you're going to get outscored from that three-point line by a wide margin.
Yeah, that's been the challenge for this team. Their defensive numbers, their rebounding numbers, much improved over last year, but their inability to score the basketball will hurt them when they're playing against the elite teams of the Big Ten.
Steve Peichel, when he was at UConn, played on an NIT championship team, also played on the first UConn team that ever won a Big East title. Began his coaching career as a graduate assistant under Jim Calhoun, also coached at Yale, Central Connecticut, George Washington, and spent half a season as the interim head coach at Wesleyan. Trice fading away from the basket as he shot that one.
This kid plays with tremendous poise. Coming off the bench, what a freshman.
Sanders on the pick and roll. Freeman. The pass in the lane for Jallo misses badly and rebounded by Trice. Trice lost the handle as he tried to pass the ball and was stolen by Rutgers. Johnson makes sure he's behind the three-point line.
That's the early offense that we talked about, Bob. Need a lot more of it on turnovers, missed shots, and even makes. I'd like to see Rutgers push the basketball up the floor.
Driving to the hoop is Iverson. It was knocked away, and last touch by Iverson.
Folks, how dynamic is this freshman, Dimitri Trice? Perfect read behind that little screen and knocks it down.
Alfonso's Big Ten big man matchup nightmare, which by the way is a nightmare for our graphics people to compose. How about your national big man matchup nightmare?
I'd like to see you say that 5 times quickly, by the way. We talked about Nigel Hayes' versatility, Caleb Swanigan, Thomas Bryant. Their ability to go inside, outside is what makes them difficult. Lowry Markkanen at 7 feet tall, folks, for Arizona. Jonathan Isaac, 6'10". They're running ball screens with those guys as the ball handlers, and their ability to be able to shoot it over the top at their height, go down in the painted area, and can make plays off the dribble is what makes them nightmares to match up with.
Freeman missed the shot, got his own rebound, and got fouled. Do you wish, Alfonso, that there's a little part of you wish that you played in this era because of how your role at your size would be very different, what you'd be expected to do?
No, it would be interesting because I was a back-to-the-basket guy with a 15, 18-foot jump shot. Later in my NBA career, I learned how to shoot the three, but I think I'd like to stay with my bread and butter down in the painted area. Although it would be nice to have a little crossover dribble. A little hezzy, freeze the defense.
Alfonso played the NBA for 11 years, Denver, Atlanta, Miami, Minnesota. After a great career at Notre Dame. Freeman with a rare 3 opportunity.
Yeah, he's been awfully quiet, and we talked about the lack of balance and interior scoring for Rutgers. He only has 2 points tonight, a guy that averages around 13 a game. And without his impact on the interior, they become a one-dimensional perimeter-oriented offense, and that won't get it done against Wisconsin.
Spin move, Iverson, a little pump fake. Showed it all on that possession. He's got 6. And the lead is up to 16 midway through the first half in the Big Ten opener. Wild shot by Nigel Johnson. And here's Koenig the other way. Passing out of the low block. Great anticipation by Johnson with the steal. Quickly the other way. Dumps it off to Freeman and the foul.
Bob, and that's something that this team has missed. Every time that they go on the early push and try to get to the front of the rim, something positive has happened for Rutgers. And there's a lot of time left in this game right now. They're only down 14. And if they're going to get back and make it close at the end, they got to get out and push and look for those early opportunities. And if it's not there, go to secondary break.
Alfonso Freeman at the line, a young man. Coaching change in the middle of his career with Steve Peichel coming aboard. You had the same thing happen to you at Notre Dame. You played your first 3 years under Digger Phelps, and then John McLeod came in. How difficult is it for an upperclassman for that coaching transition?
Well, we were in similar situations. He was suspended and injured, and I was academically ineligible, so missed significant time. And you know, your senior year is your last opportunity to get it together, and he did, named a captain. And now, under Steve Peichel, I think he's been a really positive influence on this team with his veteran leadership. And sometimes it's not easy to make that transition as Bronson Koenig knocks one down. But sometimes when you have a new person come in, you can turn the page and get on, and he's certainly done that.
Kick out Mike Williams with another three.
How good has Mike Williams been from the three-point line tonight?
He's been terrific. Well, I'll tell you one thing. We have a suggestion for everyone on Rutgers. If you want to play, you want to get some playing time under the new head coach, you better play hard, because if you don't, he'll find someone else to take your spot.
And with this group he has on the floor, they all play hard.
And that was very evident when a walk-on, Jake Datica, found himself into the game in the Big Ten opener before the first TV timeout.
Their interior defense is what's been impressive for them tonight. The turnovers hurt them in the first half. 12 turnovers leading 12 points for Wisconsin. But I like what I'm seeing on the interior. I like the fight on the offensive glass.
Last foul on Mike Williams, his third. Showalter finds Koenig in the right corner. Takes it into the lane. Kind of lost his bearings there. His shot hit the bottom of the rim.
This is where they have to be good.
The shot was blocked by Brown. Geddes tries to control. Williams comes away with it and finds Nigel Johnson for the three.
Folks, we just talked about the fight and the scrap of this Rutgers team in 2016.
With the lead at 9, Greg Gard calls a timeout with 8:04 remaining, as Rutgers has just hung in there. An 18-6 Rutgers run has cut the lead to 9, and Fonz Mike Williams scored 20 points against the Badgers last year, and he's picked up where he left off a year ago.
He's been terrific, really hunting his shot, but patient as he's coming off of ball screens and been able to find some wide open three-point opportunities. A perfect 4 for 4 from the three-point line for Mike Williams. That last three couldn't have come at a better time.
Williams leads the Scarlet Knights in three-point shooting percentage and three-point makes. This is the first time since halftime, or since the first half, I should say, that Rutgers has managed to knock that lead down to single digits. Wow. And another turnover for Wisconsin. Rutgers, by the way, has turned the ball over only one time in the second half, after a dozen costly turnovers in the first half. Timeout. See the games we've been waiting for all season, the college football playoff semifinals. Alabama with a 25-game winning streak, a heavy favorite against Washington in one semifinal. Then Ohio State, number 3 in scoring defense in the country, against the Clemson team with Deshaun Watson, the runner-up in the voting for the Heisman Trophy. Both games on New Year's Eve. Then on January 2nd, it's the Cotton Bowl, and the Wisconsin Badgers will take on a Western Michigan team that is 13-0 in the MAC. And Fonz, don't you know that the Western Michigan team, looking forward to this, all the naysayers say you don't belong, I don't care that you haven't lost any games, look who you play compared to everyone else. Well, this is their chance with the bright lights.
Yeah, it's going to come down in the trenches, because can they stop the running game of Wisconsin, the best in the nation?
With that last turnover, Wisconsin has turned the ball over only one fewer time than Rutgers tonight. Wild shot by Nigel Johnson, and Happ comes away with the rebound.
Well, Nigel tried to adjust that shot in the air when he didn't need to. Just go ahead and shoot it off the glass. think you got to get that basketball inside to Nigel Hayes. He's got some mismatches out there on the floor.
Instead, it's Happ through the double team. Shot clock down to 10 for Koenig. Koenig faked one way, went the other, and drew the foul on Johnson. His first. Koenig on the Wooden Watch for the National Player of the Year award, also the Bob Cousy Watch, the award that goes to the top point guard in the country. One of three players, Hayes and Happ being the others, who are on the Wooden Watch list for Wisconsin. And Showalter is fouled shooting a three by number 3.
Bronson Koenig's been one of those guys that has increased his scoring every single year. Of course, we saw him last year knock down big 3 buzzer beater to knock off number 2 Xavier in the NCAA tournament. The thing I like about Bronson Koenig, though, is not only his ability to be able to stick the long ball, when he's putting the basketball on the deck and getting to the rim and being more aggressive as a playmaker, then he's really difficult to guard.
And Greg Gard told us today that Koenig no longer has to score for us to play at a high level because the addition of Trice enables us to give him a rest and move him off the 1 guard spot to the 2 guard, which they've done repeatedly tonight.
Yeah, it gives him a little bit more freedom to be able to work off some screens, try to hunt his shot a bit more. Doesn't have to carry the weight of having to set up the offense the entire time.
Showalter misses the free throw. Koenig tonight with 7 of his 10 points in the second half. Jallo takes it to the rim. Happ came away with it, had his pocket picked, but it winds up in Wisconsin's hands anyway.
Yeah, I thought Jallo should have dunked that basketball once he got down in the painted area.
Showalter faked one way and blew right past Sanders.
He's quietly putting together himself a night.
Sanders tries to answer, and the putback by Jallo, and Steve Peichel wants a timeout with his team trailing by 11.
The glue guy for the Wisconsin Badgers. He's been able to knock down some threes early, but if you get up close to him, he rips it underneath. Open lane, and one of the best athletes on this team. He can finish when he gets around the rim.
You know, Alfonso, recently John Calipari had a few things to say to all the naysayers who criticized the one-and-doners, which of course his program is largely built on. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I really don't have an issue with it because I used to be kind of an old fogey. Once you go to college, you stay in college, and that line was never blurred between amateurism and professionalism for me. But it changed for me, Bob, when I saw an image of Tim Tebow on the front of one of those video game covers, and it bothered me that he actually wasn't compensated for it. Now, that's a little bit of a different issue, but I've certainly changed my stance. And if the purpose of going to college is to put ourselves in position to be able to put food on the table for ourselves afterwards, and to make ourselves more marketable, or to be able to put food on the table for our families. And for these kids who are coming into college that have the ability to play in the league, and for coaches who can go out and recruit those kind of guys, and if they have the talent to go into our league and make the kind of dollars that they can today, my hat's off to them, and I say go ahead.
Foul on Loren. It's interesting you should use the words you did, because a lifetime ago when Al McGuire was coaching Marquette, and a guy that by the name of Jim Jones became one of the first players to leave college early, the media figured, well, Al McGuire would be against it. You're losing your guy. You know,
sure.
You got to stay, get your education. And they asked him about it, and Al said, no, I support the decision. They said, why? And he said, because I looked in his refrigerator and I looked in mine, and there was a lot more stuff in mine.
Indeed. You know, it's about building these young kids, whether we're professors in the classroom or these professors that are in suits right now on the sideline as coaches. We're trying to put these kids in position to be able to take care of themselves when they graduate from college or as they come from college and leave early. So I have no issues with the one-and-done rule, other than the fact is I wish the Players Association would remove it so that the kids who are talented enough to go straight from high school to the league can. And then for kids who come to college, maybe there's a 2-year rule or a 3-year rule from there. that we're putting these kids in position to actually get an education and get closer to their graduate degree should they decide to leave after their sophomore or junior years.
Of course, we're looking at a team tonight that is the antithesis of that. We began the night by talking about the senior leadership of this Wisconsin team with the talented trio of seniors.
Corey Sanders, number 3 in red, is down.
Sanders is down and in pain in the lane. The officials don't see it. And then Sa is called for the foul. Now they'll get a whistle. And Sanders will get some medical attention.
Hope it's not serious. Looked like he rolled that right ankle, but see when it happens.
Officials timeout.
Sanders, a sophomore from Lakeland, Florida. Looks like he can't put any weight on it. Take a look and see if we can figure out what happened. Well, you see,
he came down on
the foot of Vito Brown.
Those things hurt, man. Good grief. I can't watch the replays on those things, man. It hurts so bad. Good grief. Yeah, I hope he's okay.
So they'll take him right into the locker room, and with 5:39 remaining, we may have seen the last of Sanders tonight. Sanders second in the Big Ten in steals, also leads Rutgers in assists. The free throw line is Showalter. So as we were talking about before the injury, this Wisconsin team is the antithesis of the one and done theory.
Yes.
Witness Showalter, Hayes, and Koenig.
Yeah, and Hayes put his name in the hat last year, went through the whole process to kind of get evaluated and to see what the NBA scouts would say about him. And they said he'd be a second-round draft pick at the very most. So obviously wisely coming back to school. And he's such a cerebral kid anyway. And getting his college degree and having an opportunity to play afterwards is really important to him.
Williams finally missed the 3, his first miss of the night. He hit his first 4. Johnson for 3, and we'll get a rebound foul right here on the Badgers.
I'll tell you what, you got to love the fight on the offensive glass that Rutgers has had consistently on display tonight. A lot of fight in that team. Something that I haven't seen over the last 3 years.
Foul on Happ, his 3rd.
It's a home. This guy here, 35 in red, can get going if they can run him off some screens and he can create some space. But that's a part of his game he's been working on lately, doing a lot more off the bounce, but missed that one.
Rebound Happ, and here's Koenig at the 5-minute mark. Hayes looks inside for Happ, instead puts it on the deck. Showalter deep 3. Johnson runs down the rebound in the corner.
Gotta go here, got numbers.
Happ just getting across the court, and Hayes with the block.
Again, I think Nigel Johnson is going the wrong angle. Good pass.
Showalter cut for the hoop, and Happ somehow saw him over his shoulder.
Nigel Johnson is getting good penetration to the rim, but then he's floating away to his left, and that opened as a shot blocker. I loved when players did that because that gave me room to be able to go after the basketball, as you saw Nigel Hayes do on that last possession.
That coming from the second leading shot blocker in Notre Dame history, Mr. Ellis. Who's the only one that has more block shots than you, Irish history?
Jordan Cornette. Excellent off-ball defender.
Happ with the miss. 3rd time's the charm for Vito Brown.
And this is where you miss Corey Sanders, because now you don't have that 3rd ball guard out there who can knock down shots and get to the rim.
And Steve Pikiell wants a timeout.
Yeah, folks, we've talked about this all night. The versatility of Nigel Hayes. We've seen every aspect of his game tonight. And how about the pass by Ethan Happ? Beautiful finish underneath by Showalter.
And for Rutgers, Deshaun Freeman.
Thank you, Chris. The last of 4 Big Ten games today on the opening night in league play. Defensive rebound by Vito Brown. Rutgers does not have a field goal. They missed their last 6 shots without a field goal in the last 3 minutes. This after they had closed within 9.
Double C's and Seth Greenberg in studio. Love those guys.
What does Seth call you? The happiest analyst in America?
I think so. He and Jay Will.
Yeah, this coming from a guy who smiles at least once or at least twice a month, whether he needs to or not. Try smiling yourself once in a while, Seth.
CTO. That's awesome.
Koenig, another backdoor cut for Showalter.
Wisconsin so good at setting those diagonal back screens on the weak side of the floor, and if you're not alert, they will kill you underneath. They've been able to find 2 in a row now here.
Showalter with 18 points, 10 of them here in the second half. Brown with the foul. So this is opening night in the conference, Fonz. We have 2.5 remaining. It looks like Wisconsin is going to emerge with its 15th straight home win. They are one of 3 Big Ten teams ranked in the top 25. Moving forward, just how much of a competitor do you think Wisconsin is over the course of the 18-game Big Ten schedule? Are they good enough to win it?
Well, yes. I love this Wisconsin team because of how efficient they are on the offensive end, how efficient they are on the defensive ends of the floor. If there's one concern I have about this team, it's with Ethan Happ. His ability to be able to knock down free throws. He's only about a 15% free throw shooter. At the end of games in tight situations, now you got to take out one of your best rebounders. But I think with Vito Brown out there on the floor, it gives them a little bit extra depth because now he can slide over to a 5 position if necessary. So can Nigel Hayes. This is a team, you know, they're kind of like Notre Dame, Villanova. They don't beat themselves. They don't turn it over usually as much as they have tonight, but they take great care of the basketball, good free throw shooting team, and several guys on the floor who can bury you offensively.
The walk-on Jake Datica, we saw him early in the game, is back on the floor for Rutgers. Remember, Sanders left with what appeared to be an injury to his right ankle, and we haven't seen him reemerge from the locker room. Opportunity for a 3-point play.
And Bob, what we just saw from Freeman down on the low post, Rutgers needs more of that from him, because if he can give them a steady flow of offense on the interior, it'll loosen it up on the perimeter for their guards and take a lot of pressure, because right now, especially tonight, they've been one-dimensional on the offensive end because of the lack of a post presence.
So at the line, Freeman will try to complete the 3-point play. He's the second leading rebounder in the Big Ten. This is only his 2nd season at Rutgers. He played a couple of years at Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, and he missed the last 25 games of last season in Piscataway with a knee injury. Hayes with a stop-and-go move, and he'll get a trip to the line.
I tell you, at his size, the ability to change speeds, change direction is really good. I mean, he gets you and he hits you with one of those little hesitation dribbles. You freeze, then he has the ability to burst. And part of that is because he stays so low. Low man always wins in basketball.
3rd foul on Freeman. So Rutgers is going to lose its 19th straight Big Ten road game. Haven't won on the road since entering the lead. And in chatting with Steve Peichel at shoot-around today, looking forward to the big picture, he says, you know, look, let's face it, Rutgers has taken a lot of punches over the years. We hope to throw a few this year ourselves.
Yeah, and I've
not
seen,
literally.
Sure, I've seen some thrown earlier because, again, I did this team 2-3 years ago. The fight wasn't there on the defensive end nor on the backboard, and what I've seen tonight is an improved team defensively in the half court, especially in the post, and then on the offensive end. Though they're limited in terms of their scoring ability, their dominance on the offensive glass is really remarkable. Woo, that was pretty
wild shot by Williams. The possession seemed to have broken down. Little ad-lib job by number 5.
Wild, you know, former player, man. That's a good play. That was pretty. That was showing the ball with a little finger roll off the glass.
Williams, a 2-time All-City player in New York, according to the New York Daily News. Final minute of the ball game as Wisconsin looks to win its Big 10 opener for the 13th time in the last 14 years. Low block Hayes takes it to the middle and will get hammered by Freeman. That will be his 4th foul.
Folks, Mike Williams has had himself a night. At one point, 4 for 4 from the three-point line. Now shows it a little bit, get the defender to commit, and then scoops it underneath. And that's one of the few times I disagree with my buddy Bob. That wasn't wild and out of control. He was absolutely in control.
Don't be putting words in my mouth. I did not say out of control, but it was a wild shot.
We do have to work on your. We do have to work on your collection, though.
Well, it's gonna be a while before I start listening to classical music when I'm working out. I'll tell you that.
Mike Williams did before the game, and look, he went for 18.
You know what I listen to when I work out? Sports Center.
It's a good way to do it too.
Yeah.
This was a good test tonight for both teams, really. For Wisconsin running into a team who can match them in terms of their size on the interior. I thought Rutgers did a great job with their post defense tonight. Didn't have to double because their bigs were able to keep guys in front. And then for Rutgers, running up against one of the most efficient offenses in our nation.
Hayes departs, replaced by walk-on Aaron Maish, number 5. Another walk-on Matt Ferris will check in, replacing Trice. Wisconsin had an 8-0 run to start the game, led wire to wire, up by 15 in the first half. Biggest lead was 21. Rutgers did cut it to 9 after falling behind by 21, but never got it any closer. And that last Wisconsin answer to the Rutgers run coincided with the injury to Sanders.
And then Bronson Koenig tonight just didn't get as many shot opportunities out there on the floor. 8 points in the game, but if Zach Showalter continued to shoot the basketball from the three-point line the way he has tonight, an additional weapon for the Badgers.
TJ Schlunt, number 20, also in for Wisconsin. There's Andy Van Fleet, who scored 9 points off the bench in the last game. Last touch by Rutgers, and now the shot clock is off with 8 seconds remaining.
I like the fight, the toughness, and the heart that we've seen from Rutgers tonight.
So Wisconsin will just sit on it. And for some reason, Rutgers fouls. And Steve Peichel has his hands up in the air like, what was that? What it was is an opportunity for Aaron Maish to get some points. The 6'8" walk-on from Green Bay has scored 2 points this year. Freeman leads for Rutgers.
Bob, I think the commitment of Nigel Hayes to giving up the three-point shot for the sake of getting down in the painted area and making plays, it's been huge for Wisconsin. It's going to be big for them going forward.
Here's Datica quickly the other end. Shot at the buzzer, no good, and that's it. So Wisconsin wins its Big Ten opener for the 13th time in 14 years. And the Badgers extend their home winning streak to 15 games. They go to 12-2. Next up will be Indiana on Tuesday. Rutgers slips to 11-3. They'll host Penn State on Sunday. Once again, the final score: Wisconsin 72, Rutgers 52. Let's go to Chris Goddard, Jay Williams, and the smiling Seth Green.